Hello everyone, it's me, Rory Paddock for Racing Daily. As always, with John Arnold. It's Newmarket, it's day two, it's the halfway point of the July meeting. Yesterday was a little bit of a washout. Hopefully we can do a bit better this afternoon. And hopefully we can end up with at least a couple of winners. Another tough day, John. Yesterday wasn't exactly our shining light or shining glory. So hopefully today can be a bit better. Obviously, big race of the day. You've got the 3:35. You've got the Farmer Stakes, which looks ultra competitive. 8 runners go to post with some decent form there. But we'll kick things off. It's the 150. We've got the Bet365 handicap. Heritage Antico is Class 2 races, 3-year-olds. It's over 1 mile too. Current market leader, we've got the Godolphin horse, King's Charter. Urban Glimpse at around 7-2. Mohaba Gayaf at 11-2. Karaka at 6s, and it's 8-1 bar. William Buick obviously picked up his 2000th winner yesterday and ended up grabbing a treble on the card. Does he add another winner to the collection today in the opener?
You'd be very inclined to think that he can, but for me, I think in some of these races today, away from the main race, you should look for the value, and I'm going to go with a horse called Warhawk. Ryan Moore's riding for Simon Crisford, and it's won its last 2 starts. Won Epsom quite well last month, so it's 2 from 3 on turf. So I'm not going to go with a favourite. That would be the obvious choice in the first race, but I'm going to go each way on Warhawk and look for something that's slightly bigger to maybe get at least a place in the first race.
Yeah, Warhawk obviously won his last 2 races. Again, the added bonus of having Ryan Moore butts for the ride, you can't really put anyone off. I'm going to be boring. I'm going to go with a favourite, King's Charter. Obviously, the Godolphin team are going well, as is William Buick. I think it was nearly a 300-day break, and then came back and won a really competitive looking race. So last time out, that was about 30 odd days ago. Makes a handicap debut today. All right, has to carry top weight, but I think it's one of those races where you have a look at some sort of handicaps and potentially you see horses that could go into much better than handicap company. Whether or not King's Charter does that, time will obviously tell. It'll love the extra distance. It won over a mile last time out. I think 10 furlongs it absolutely made for. I think it's just one of the classier horses in the race. Again, with the 8 runners, thankfully you've got the opportunity to look for each way terms. Again, I couldn't put you off Warhawk like you've picked. Regalion's pretty competitive, pretty consistent horse for William Haggis. I think that could go well. But I'm going to be boring. I'm going to go with the favourite, King's Charter, to hopefully add to Will Buick's current hot streak. Move to the 225, mate. We've got the 6 furlong Duchess of Cambridge Stakes, Group 2 for fillies, 2-year-olds. Red hot favourite, Venetian Sun. Odds on, 7-4 on. Surely it's the Carlberg's horse to lose, mate.
Yeah, I think you're right. It ran a great race at Ascot, and you can see by the price of 4-7, it should win, and in a relatively small field as well. So what I'm going to do with this race, I'm not going to back Venetian Sun to win. I'm going to look for a horse that could actually get into the other place, and I'm going to go for the outside. I'm going to go for Shine on Me, which was 100-1 in its race at Royal Ascot, and it came 6th in the Queen Mary at 100-1. And today it's at 12-1. James Doyle is riding for Archie Watson. So no bet on the favourite at 4-7, but an each way bet on Shine on Me.
Yeah, again, it's a bit of a frustrating one with there only being the 6 runners. You've not got the extra 2 places to sort of perhaps provide a bit of reassurance if you're looking for an each way punt. It's got to either beat Venetian Sun, which doesn't look likely, or you've got to finish close up behind it. I think Shine on Me is a decent shout. If I'm being completely honest and being really transparent, it's a bit of a no bet race for me. You can't go overly giddy about a horse that's 4-7. I think it'll absolutely dominate, and I think it'll absolutely battle the other 5. If I had to try and find a horse to finish behind it, Mood Queen as one of 2 course and distance winners. Again, Ryan Moore, but for the ride. Richard Hughes has had a couple of horses go well in the last week or 2. I think Mood Queen, for me, would probably be the nearest one to get to the favourite. But I want to be boring simply because I have to give a horse in this race. Venetian Sun will win. Again, it's not going to be a 5-star max bet type thing. It's probably going to be a sit back and sort of watching brief. But yeah, Venetian Sun will win. What you do outside of that, your guess is as good as mine, mate. The next one is perhaps a bit more competitive. We've got the 3 o'clock. It is the first handicap of the day. The first older words. The first older horse handicap. We've got 1 mile 6. It's the Bet 365 trophy. 4-year-olds and upwards. Again, we've got another Godolphin horse that's sort of vying for favouritism at the minute. Endless Victory. Couldn't necessarily have it myself simply because it's got top weight. It's finished 7th last time, and prior to that, it's finished 9th. Again, the fact that it's a bit more competitive, I'm enjoying this. I'm going to go for 1 for the gutter. Ian Williams' horse, Sylvester de Souza, but for the ride. It finished about a length behind Insanity last time out. It's much better off in the weights this time around. I think they can reverse that form. And I think 1 for the gutter as an each-way bet is a decent shout. Also, the ultra-consistent Dancing in Paris couldn't be discredited as well. That horse always seems to run a pretty decent race and he's been backed in to do so. It's nearly favourite. It's 4-1. Clear second favourite now. But each way bet, 1 for the gutter to hopefully go close there in the 3 o'clock. What are you going for, mate?
You've just mentioned the one I'm going for, Dancing in Paris. Very strong form. Came second in the Northumberland Plate. Very good race it gave up behind Spirit Mixer at Newcastle. That's Ian Williams trains Dancing in Paris as well. Third at Goodwood over the distance. It's only gone up £4. So yeah, my bet is Dancing in Paris.
Happy days. Well, hopefully Ian Williams can grab the winner. Big race of the day, 3:35. We've got the Falmer Stakes. That's a really good race in terms of sort of really competitive, decent horses, a decent field in this. Many horses that have done well at Ascot. Cinderella's Dream Burn, plenty of fingers at Ascot when going down and losing to Crimson Advocate. They obviously renew the rivalry here, whether or not the form will be reversed. January also placed at Ascot in arguably a better race. So do you go, well, actually, a third in that race is better than a first or a second in another race, and does the form look better? What I'm about to say is probably slightly contradictory to what I'm going to end up backing. I can't really split those 3 at the head of the market. I think the winner will come from those 3. So I've tried to have a look and hope that there's another horse that could upset the apple cart, just in terms of trying to get into the mix. Now, it's going to be a bit of an obscure bet, so I'll apologise now. But for anyone who's been following On the Nod or my videos for many a year, I like to do potentially place-only markets. I put them on with Paddy Power. Other bookmakers do them, whereby it's a simple bet. A horse to finish in the top X amount of runners pays you whatever that is. And I'm going to go with Amalka. It's a really consistent horse, but doesn't win very often. Currently 16-1, it's taken a massive drift, so I hope that's not going to be the kiss of death. Currently priced at 5-4 to finish in the top 4. Now, if one of the big 3 falters, which in races like this, it wouldn't be a big shock, then I'm hoping Amalki could perhaps pick up the pieces. Doesn't need to win, perhaps doesn't even need to finish, ahead of the other 3. As long as it finishes in the top 4, I think he's got a decent chance. Decent form here at Newmarket, albeit both starts on the Rolly Mile course. And I just think potentially if one of the big 3 falter, and Malcolm might have a decent squeak. Don't think it's going to win. I don't think it's going to come close to winning. But if it can be there or thereabouts and finish in the top half of the field, I'll take my 5-4. And hopefully it's a bit of a watching brief. And hopefully we'll end up with a decent race with the top 3 in the betting going hammer and tongue come the finish line. Bit of an out there one, but that's what I'm going to go with. What about yourself, mate?
Yeah, I can see you're thinking. I mean, I had a look at Amalka last week with this race because it's 1,000 guineas winner. Sylvester Sousa riding for Roger Varian. They deliberately left the horse out of the race at Ascot, so it didn't ride at Ascot. 16 to 1 is a very good price each way. But like you, I don't think it'll win the race because I don't think it's as strong over the distance as the other horses. Now, looking back to Ascot, Crimson Advocate won very well. When you look at the footage of the race, it's pulling away at the end of the race. So for me, I would say Crimson Advocate on the last performance is the standout horse. But the big dark horse, as always, is the Godolphin. Is the Ballydoyle horse with January, because it did run in, like you said, in a higher caliber race last time, and it's progressed and it's up against uh, older horses, isn't it? So therefore, January is probably the most progressive horse in the race. So for me, I think that it's out of January and Crimson Advocate, and my heart says January will win, but my head is telling me I think Crimson Advocate can improve again on its run at Ascot. So as much as I would normally go with Moore and O'Brien, I'm not. I'm going to go with Crimson Advocate because I still think the horse is going to improve from its last run, and it seemed to win quite easily at Ascot. When you look back at the race, he's not getting at the horse in the last furlong at all. It's just striding away from the group. So I'm going to go with Crimson Advocate to win. So that's probably going to be my shot in my own foot because I normally side with Moore and O'Brien, but I actually think Crimson Advocate could come out of it as the best race. But then we've not even mentioned, like you said, you mentioned Cinderella's Dream. That could have just turned it round from Ascot, and he could again perform above its level this afternoon for Buick. But I'm going to stick out there and say Crimson Advocate. I think it's one of their best horses they've got in that stable. So that's the one for me, Crimson Advocate to win.
There we go. That's our thoughts on the big race this Friday. Just like yesterday, we moved the big race to a maiden. This maiden probably looks a bit better in terms of more runners, perhaps level of potential in this race. Again, I'm no breeding expert. I'm not going to be preaching about, I mean, I could look through the form book and have a half decent idea, but there's in a race as open as this, there's a clear market leader. Whether or not that's because of how well Godolphin did yesterday. Distant Storm, currently priced at around 6 to 5. It's been absolutely smashed. Then you've got, what have you got then? You've got the Venetian Prince, Andrew Balding horse, the Irish Raider, Constitution River for the O'Brien teams at 8, as is Oxagon, that's 8 to 1. Billicarts at 9s for Carl Burke, who's obviously a master with his youngsters, and it's 12 to 1 bar. Again, not a race I can be overly strong with. I noted 2 down, Exclusive Code and Oxagon, just because I like the sires. Exclusive Code's now a non-runner, so it's going to be an each-way bet. Oxagon to go well, trained by the Gosden team, sired by Franco, obviously brilliant sort of in terms of breeding, but all of them are amazing breeding-wise here. If you're going to go off breeding alone, Jesus, you look through it and it's a who's who of sires and mares and dam sires that are obviously absolutely superstars. But yeah, Oxagon, small stakes, nothing to get over the giddy about in this, just as an each way bet. Anything in this, mate?
Yeah, you said it's all about the breeding and what's been paid up. Distant Storm cost 1.9 million euros at the Aqua Breeze Up, so they obviously believe it's a great horse. So if you're going to have a bet in the race, you say that's probably just a straight win bet. I'm going to go with Constitution River because I think that they obviously want to get it on the board to bring it over from Ireland. They must obviously think that it's going to be able to at least get a place in the race. They'd be disappointed if not, I would imagine. So I'm just going to have an each way punt at Constitution River.
Yeah, again, it's one of those into it where it's you couldn't be overly confident unless you've seen the horse do
Yeah.
a bit better behind the scenes or whatever. But yep, that's our thoughts on the 410. The last 2 races will look really competitive handicaps. First up, we've got the 445. It's the Dubai Racing Club handicaps, a Class 3 race over 7 furlongs. Where do you want to go in here, mate?
Up the pace. Looked at the horse yesterday. Came first at Doncaster over the same distance and at Ascot as well. It's 1-3. Sorry, its form is 1 first, third, first at its turf handicaps. So I think 11 to 2 is a good each way bet. So Kieran Schumacher's riding, and I'm going to go for up the pace each way. That's my one.
Yeah, annoyingly, I was hoping I'd be a bit stronger with something in this. I think Ledman could outrun its odds, but it's not the one for me. Brave Mission might have a decent chance, but at 5-2, I couldn't be supporting it at those odds. I'm going to go with Richard Spencer's Two Tribes, finished fourth at this meeting last year, albeit that was over 6 furlongs. You couldn't be overly confident with it, though. It's only won once in 17 career starts. I don't think it can go close. Back at this meeting once again. I've seen Murphy's, but 8-1, decent each way price. I'll take that in what looks an open race. It's one of those races where you wouldn't be surprised no matter what comes out and wins, to be fair. Olympus Point, probably worth a mention as well, but connections are firing them in. And I think Eminency could potentially go well at a big price. But no, if I had to nail my colours to the mast, again, not overly confident, but small each way bet, Two Tribes there in the penultimate race. And hopefully what will be the lucky last. Another Class 3 handicap. It's a 5 furlong race. 10 runners to go to post. And perhaps, if I'm being honest, this is perhaps the one that I'm more confident about in terms of the meeting. I'm going to go with Rocking Ends. It's been backed into around 4-1. I think it won this contest last year. Returns with less weight on its back. Obviously, eye-catching jockey booking of Ross O'Ryan. It's a 5-year-old. It's not been at its best in these 3 starts, but I think, in the last 3 starts. But I think this race is what it's been sort of primed and put out for. I was hoping it would still be around 6-1 or 11-2, I think it was last night. It has been backed into 4s. I was going to be quite all in with an each way bet, but at 4-1, look, I'll back it each way. But yeah, that's probably my bet of the day. Rocking Ends to hopefully end the day on a high. Your thoughts on the lucky last, mate?
I'm going to go with Nagogo's Dream. I think Richard Hughes is throwing some good darts at the moment, and he's got some good horses in his stable, and he's got, again, the top jockey on it in the last race. It won last time at Windsor. It's won 3 of its last 6 starts, and it's won on very good to firm ground. It's going to be very fast ground there again today because of the heat. So I think that Ngogo's Dream to win last race, and I should imagine it'll go off as favourite.
Yeah, currently priced at around 7-2, so yours and mine sort of vying for favouritism at the minute, 7-2 and 4-1 respectively. Those are our selections for what is the second day of Newmarket's July meeting. Obviously, if you're watching it on ITV, there's extra races from York. We'll be previewing them over on our website at racing-daily.com. As always, any likes, comments and shares are very much welcome, and fingers crossed for a better day, and touch wood, and good luck if you follow.